6! 6! 6!
Okay, good.
The number of your mother. Anyway,
What?
What?
What? How does that even make any sense?
666.
What?
I called your mother the devil. Because you're the Antichrist. Now, isn't it kind of fishy? Isn't it kind of fishy for him to come out like several days before the sexual harassment allegations and go, if someone says something, don't believe them? Like that strikes me as like the guilty actions of a man who knows his days are numbered. Like, if someone accuses me of robbing that bank, just remember that it's completely false. It was totally someone else. No one's accused you of that yet. And
in case you were wondering,
the alarm going
I didn't
off
rob
in the
any
distance.
banks recently.
Oh, right, yeah. I'd like
Just
to let
in
everyone
case you were
know
wondering.
up here that I've not robbed any banks recently. So yeah, just wanted to let everyone know. You know, I haven't killed anyone. And if anyone says that I did, if anyone says that I did, they're trying to frame me. So yes. It's a bulletproof strategy, really.
Guilty.
Like, when you think about it, it's a perfect strategy. You can just kill whoever you want as long as you tell everyone that you didn't do it 3 days first. You know? This is great. So anyway, how are you?
What?
How are you?
How am I?
Yeah, how are you?
Okay, I guess.
Riveting
Why?
podcast commentary. It's very good. Very, very well put together little back and forth there. You're doing a great job. This is very entertaining to listen to.
How am I? Well, demonic? Is that better?
Well, anyway, let's talk about current news. Everyone's being accused of sexual harassment
Black Widow
again.
has a writer now.
Black Widow has a writer. Okay, hold on. Let's talk about that first.
So I feel like this is sort of like a Doctor Who the Doctor becoming a woman thing. It's gonna happen sooner or later. A lot of people want it, and it's gonna make a ton of money.
Huh. Okay, well, now if I can offer
I know
a counterpoint.
personally that the same friends who are really excited about the Doctor Who becoming a woman are really big fans of Black Widow.
True.
Black Widow
I could see that.
has a lot of fans, especially among the female members of the geek community.
Yes. However, how about I offer a counterpoint? The time to make a Black Widow movie passed. I think they should have done it in like fucking 2015 and let Joss Whedon do it like he wanted. There's an alternate timeline where that happened. DC. I know, and of course everyone hates him now for it.
Yeah.
So I would say it should have happened sooner, because from a writing standpoint, it's kind of like the character has nowhere left to go now.
My theory is that they're going to do an origin story.
And also doing a prequel. They've never done really a prequel before in this series.
It's what they're doing with or Captain Marvel.
Oh yeah, I forgot. They were going to set her thing in the 90s, huh?
So basically what I'm imagining a Black Widow movie is going to be is basically if you see the trailer for Red Sparrow. You know,
oh my god. Even the name is derivative. Black Widow. Color animal. Red Sparrow. Like, are you serious?
Well, that's a reason for that because it's based off of a series of books called... Well, the title actually means something. Red is a reference to communism, you know, red. And then Sparrow is the type of spy that she is, which uses, like, sexual seduction techniques to do that sort of thing. So there's a reason for that.
The reason is that it's marketable. Anyway, Jennifer Lawrence
isn't.
Oh yeah, she's box office cancer now.
Well, she was real. Remember when she was the real Let's talk about Jennifer Lawrence, okay?
Okay, Jennifer Lawrence is super full of
remember in like
herself.
2013, 2014 when Jennifer Lawrence was the girl next door darling?
Oh yeah, she was everyone's favorite.
And then she isn't.
And then she revealed that she's kind of a pompous jerk in a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
She became aloof.
Aloof.
Her persona was the girl next door, but then as you become more and more famous, you can't be that anymore because everybody wants to be your friend if you're the girl next door, and you just can't do that anymore. So she becomes a little bit more aloof, and she's trying to be a bit more of a serious actress now, mother type thing. But then again, she's also doing Amy Schumer comedy.
Yeah.
I'm confused about her career path. Because, she's doing spy thrillers like Red Sparrow. She's doing weird Oscar bait stuff like Mother. She's supposed to play the Theranos founder. And she's supposed to play, a photojournalist in a Steven Spielberg movie.
She's just doing whatever she can for a paycheck because her chance at getting that whole, really successful, Angelina Jolie kind of career, where she's
and
just
she's still in
everywhere for 8 years.
Still in X-Men, I guess.
That's the weird thing is that the whole state of X-Men is really uncertain and weird right now. No one even knows what the hell's going on with that right now. It's are those movies just gonna come out with one more edition then get rebooted or what?
I have a feeling that it's kind of funny how Jennifer Lawrence is still in these movies despite the fact that
she hates them.
She clearly doesn't care about them anymore.
She's hated them since after the first one got done that she was in.
But hey, she gets paychecks.
True. Well, I mean, eventually she won't, but for the moment. So, what were we talking about?
Jennifer Lawrence?
Why is everyone in Hollywood so rapey? Everyone. Everyone famous.
Jennifer Lawrence is accused of it too?
No,
what?
But Stan Lee got accused. Fucking James Franco got accused the night he got the Golden Globe Award for playing Tommy Wiseau. Michael Douglas. I almost said Frederick Douglass. That would be funny.
Mike Douglas.
No, Frederick Douglass.
Mike.
Fred Mike Douglas. But anyway,
Yee.
Someone Photoshop a fake newspaper article saying that Frederick Douglass is being accused of sexual harassment, and then see how many people don't know who Frederick Douglass actually is and assume that's a current person. Like someone post that on Twitter, and then see how many comments go, "This is bullshit. These are all fake accusations. I can't believe they're going after him too." It's are you serious? I bet you there's going to be one stupid person who thinks Frederick Douglass is a current politician. I bet you.
Wait, isn't he running for Senate in Alabama?
He's been dead.
What?
He's Frederick Douglass?
Yeah, he's running for Senate in Alabama.
No, the other Frederick Douglass. The one that died in 1895.
Well, that doesn't mean he can't run for Senate in 2017.
You know what? He's determined enough. He
They can have some accommodations for him.
Yeah. I want a Frederick Douglass biopic where he's played by the guy who plays the Crabman in My Name is Earl.
Biopic? What's a biopic?
It's like when they make a video game based on your life.
Well, you mean a biopic?
No.
You see, here's the thing why you're pronouncing it wrong, because biopic comes from biographical, so it's not biopic or whatever you said.
So is it called
biopic?
Okay, so
that's wrong.
So you pronounce it biography?
Biopic.
I'm gonna write an autobiography.
Biography, but biopic because it's an amalgamation of biography and picture.
Well, I think the fact that it's a combination of biography and picture means biop sounds a little bit more accurate.
That sounds really dumb.
You ruined your own argument. You said it's a combination of a word where you say bio, and then I said bio, but you're saying bio. Fuck you.
Biography.
I'll say it however I want. I'm right.
No, I'm right.
Everyone in the comment, type how you think it's supposed to be. Everyone in the comments, just type that I'm right.
No, you're not.
Don't even give
type
your opinion.
Type that I'm right.
Just
it's on my channel, so
your channel
I'm right.
is lame. It doesn't have enough red. It's too blue.
It doesn't have. It has too much red. Red is bad.
Oh.
Excuse me for a second.
Oh no. Oh, okay. David's leaving again. He did this last year. Or not last year. I mean, week. We record these kind of separate, so it kind of feels like it was a year ago. Well, anyway, I'll just sit here and talk to you. How are you doing, audience? Hear that Logan Paul got kicked off of that Google Preferred? Now, the thing about that is that I didn't know Google Preferred was a thing, and I think it's bullshit and shouldn't exist. They should not have a preferred list where certain people just don't apply to the rules. That's terrible. They're playing favorites, literally, but then everyone complained at them enough that they kicked him off the playing favorites list. Like, what? It's garbage. Burn the whole site down.
Why?
David endorses it. He agrees with me. He thinks it was terrible.
Why do I endorse what?
You endorse burning down all of YouTube because it's a bunch of garbage.
Sure. Just as long as VidMe can move forward. Yep. Oh wait, VidMe's dead too.
Oh, poor VidMe. Remember Blip? Remember that one? Blip.tv. What else? What about Daily Motion? Does that still exist?
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter.
No one cares about Daily Motion. I'm not even sure how it's still around. Like, who uses it? Like, who just daily is going on Daily Motion?
Who is daily using?
It's more like monthly motion at best, if you use it at all.
I would say more like yearly motion.
Yearly motion? You just check it once a year if you need to find a short film that you can't find on YouTube, so you could show it to your class. If you're a film school teacher. That's the only reason I remember that Daily Motion exists, is because there's some short films that have copyright problems.
And Vimeo is only used by cinephile, pretentious people.
I forgot Vimeo existed at all.
I didn't.
Oh, okay. So, what you're saying is YouTube runs a monopoly, and there will never be a satisfying or worthwhile, competitor. It's just going to continue to exist as it does forever.
Well, the problem is that there are huge costs that go into hosting video. So there's very few people who have the kind of resources to match Google in video hosting. And B is that these competitors to YouTube are more copycats than true competitors. They don't try to innovate or do something different that would differentiate themselves. They're just like, hey, we host videos too. And if you're not offering a feature set that incentivizes people to come over to your platform, then they just won't.
Skype is doing that annoying thing again where it's garbage, so I'm just hearing that's
not Skype. I was just covering my mouth.
That's all I'm hearing. It's so muffled. Skype is garbage.
No, you.
Hey, Skype. Your new update is really cute and adorable because it's just trying so hard to be Discord. It's even got a night theme. The fucking UI is lined up exactly the same. They have the same kind of chat room sort of system. They just redesigned it to look like Discord. This is pathetic.
Can you hear me now?
This is the saddest thing I've ever seen.
What's sadder than that?
I can't hear anything you're saying, so I'm just going to talk for a little while. And I feel like I've earned it, considering how...
No, you haven't.
We recorded that Couch Potatoes the other day, and every 5 seconds you would cut me off and just go on another tangent.
No.
So today is the Xavier Talks More day.
No.
Meanwhile, on David's end, you hear...
No. No. You're pretending, aren't you?
Anywho,
do you have another salty rant for us?
So the other day I decided to put together a list of all the Spider-Man books I haven't read. Because I went through and I read all of the mainline series, like Web of Spider-Man, Spectacular, Spider-Man Unlimited, Amazing Spider-Man, all those. You know, the ones that were like
an unimpressive
ongoing
Spider-Man?
However, I did miss a lot of like short-running series that were like kind of outside the continuity. There's also like anthology books that's like it's a different Spider-Man related story once a week. There's been like 3 or 4 of those. Plus, like, here's a retelling of the first like 60 issues, but in like 18. Or there's also Spider-Man Adventures, which is just like a complete remake, sort of, but also kind of in the same continuity. It's more of like a soft reboot than Ultimate Spider-Man, which is just a hardcore remake. So it's really interesting. When you go back and you want to read the chronology, you can end up reading the same story maybe like 3 or 4 times in a different way. In fact, I think I actually have like 6 issues where he fights the Vulture for the first time, and all of them have pretty much the same kind of like, you know, outline of events, but the dialogue itself changes, or certain details like the time of day or the order things happen in. It's kind of like being stuck in a time loop, except you're reading Spider-Man comics.
So it's like that one episode of Star Trek.
It's like that one episode of Star Trek where Geordi reads a bunch of Spider-Man comics, but then he loses his visor and he can't, so then he has to get Spider-Man comics in Braille.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's called Cause and Effect.
Do they make... Yeah, it's called Cause and Effect. Do they make Braille comic books? Like, where they just print... Like, you basically don't even have to color it. You just do the inks. Like, you get the inkers pages with all the dark lines and the shadows and everything over the pencil work. And then you just make it bumpy so you could just feel, like, the texture of Spider-Man's lines. Or the lightning from Electro's hands. Or, like, you can follow the webs.
You're the comic book guy, so you tell me.
Maybe I should do that. I could... maybe I should patent this and invent it. Okay, no one steal my idea. We're gonna keep this...
Don't worry, nobody watches this listens to this anyway.
You almost said nobody watches this shit. I swear to God.
Mm-hmm.
But my Braille comic book idea, I'm totally going for it. It's gonna be awesome.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it now.
Hopefully I can make like 10 whole bucks off of it, and I could finally afford to eat something more than packets of pepperoni for dinner.
Yeah, you do that, and it's so weird. Who just eats packets of pepperoni and nothing else?
Well, pepperoni tastes nice. It's not, like, you know, the most unhealthy thing in the universe.
Well...
You can buy a packet of, like, a lot of it for, like a $2. You know?
But it's bad.
It's, like, cheaper than buying a whole steak.
Well, don't buy steaks. They're expensive.
Yeah, so I buy pepperoni packets.
Don't buy pepperoni.
What should I buy then?
Food.
I'll buy food if people start donating more to that Patreon. Oh, I'm having.
Do you want to shill for your Patreon again?
Hey everyone, make sure to donate to Godzilla Mendoza at patreon.com so I can afford food and I can eat more than just pepperoni packets.
You don't have to feel guilty about it because they're not doing dumb stuff on the internet again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Patreon finally backed down after everyone yelled at them. This 2017 seems to be the year of YouTube does something dumb, gets yelled at, backs down. Patreon gets yelled at, for doing something dumb, backs down. This is like every big major internet thing is just acting really shitty lately, and everyone's just complaining about it on Twitter until it gets reversed.
Well, it's certainly better than complaining about it on Blabber.
On Blabber? Blabber.com?
Remember, it's a joke from that one Plinkett review? Where it says, I have this app called Blabber where I complain about things. On the internet!
I actually haven't watched that one. That was the Force Awakens review, right?
Yeah.
I haven't watched that one very much.
Well, I reference it because I reference things.
Plinkett reviews are super easy to reference just because every line is funny. I aspire to be as good at writing a review as that guy. Every single sentence has a joke in it.
Mm-hmm. It's basically like a Nostalgia Critic review with actual analysis and commentary.
I feel like there was a jab at Nostalgia Critic in there, but Skype is so garbage that I only heard just the word Nostalgia Critic.
I'd say it's like a Nostalgia Critic, but with actual analysis.
Well, I heard even less that time, so I'll just take your word for it and just assume you said something funny.
You're pretending to not
You got
hear
that
me,
right, buddy. So, how's that Insomniac Games vlog doing?
I'm doing the editing right now.
It's just dead silence on my end.
That's because I'm not saying anything right now.
It's like playing telephone, but with a podcast.
Teflone?
Hang on, hold on. Let me call you back.
So how was your breakfast?
I disconnected,
just by myself
so now he can't hear me. Now it's just you and me, dear audience.
I don't know what to tell you guys, because this is why I do it with somebody else, because it's a lot more interesting than if I just do it by myself. So I want to be friends too. Guess I'm just here by myself then. So
we could tell each other stories. We could watch TV together. We could
heard anything interesting about on the internet lately?
Who do things with pants. Anyway.
You want to hear some good gossip?
I hate the new Skype ringtone thing. It's stupid.
I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. I'm just rambling to fill
bullshit.
space and time. So
everything about the internet lately is garbage. It's just all completely terrible. Twitter is for complaining about politics. YouTube is run by psychopaths who hate the people who run their site, who work on their site.
Why is this?
Facebook is run by a creepy evil big brother that spies on people. You know.
I don't know. Either.
David can't be reached on Skype at the moment. Oh, well, fuck you.
What?
You know, Skype is garbage and doesn't work anymore. Tumblr is just like this horrible place for people to harass each other into committing suicide for not having good enough art skills or drawing a character slightly skinnier than his canon.
So Skype is reconnecting, so that's going to be really exciting if that ever happens.
There's got to be like one good website that isn't terrible. Let's see here. Let's look through the library. What's going on? Yeah, I'm looking through here, and all of these are terrible. You know what? Let's just say RedTube is doing fine. You know, they don't got anything bad going on right now necessarily.
So I'll be right back.
We'll give that one a pass. All right, let's try this again. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. That's the noise it makes. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. Why isn't he answering? Man. Just like David. Be completely unreliable. I'm gonna message him. This is probably funny to hear from both sides. I'm just gonna type "answer me" in all caps. Let's see what he says to that. Oh, whoop 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 whoop. This is making new sounds now. Sounds terrible. Oh, let's see. There's a news article here. Halo 6 developers open up about release date timing. You know, I'm not really interested in the Halo franchise anymore. I feel like it kind of has passed its prime, you know? It's kind of struggling to find anything new to do with itself, so it's just kind of ripping off from Call of Duty. And then for a while, Call of Duty was just ripping off from Halo in order to find something interesting to do. So it's just like they've kind of homogenized.
So it turns out it's all my fault, guys.
Singular thing that's kind of boring. Oh, David, he messaged me saying his internet is bad, so he's resetting it.
Work.
Well, that's fine. I'll keep you entertained until then. I kind of think that Halo and Call of Duty, they both had their own distinctions and interesting parts a couple of years ago. You know, like circa like 2009, 2010. But then over time, they just started ripping each other off to compete more and more until they kind of became this single sort of,
come on, internet,
you know, hard to separate thing.
Internet,
like Infinite Warfare, whatever, where you're fighting on spaceships with robots. Looked like a Halo.
You can
game
internet.
But then Halo 5, when I played
just
it, I couldn't help but feel like this plays and kind of acts like a Call of Duty game. So I don't know. I kind of prefer if they would like peel apart from each other and try and find new directions to go again.
Come on, internet.
I used to be really into
Halo.
Come on,
internet.
I used to play Halo Reach online, a little bit of Halo 3 online, like crazy. Like I got an Xbox for the first time in 2010, and I played both of those games just till my eyes bled. I love those games. They were like, it was like the first time I had played an online multiplayer game, and I was in the servers fighting dudes in Halo Reach pretty much every day after school. Like I would go to middle school or whatever. I would hang out with my friends all that day. Why is this happening? And we'd get home, and after we got homework done, or some of us would just not do it, we'd get straight onto Xbox Live and would just be, you know, playing Halo game types all day for, I don't know, something like 2 or 3 years. We kind of tried to do it with Halo 4 as well. Halo 4 as well, but it just wasn't quite as interesting. Hey, Hello? What? Did you stop your recording?
Hello?
Hello, hi. What's up? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
He can't hear me.
I can't hear a thing on your end.
I can hear you.
No, I can't. I can't hear you.
God damn it. I'm messaging him, is how we're communicating.
Sorry about this week's podcast, people.
It's okay, I never stopped talking. It's like that time when we were filming Couch Potatoes. And
okay, then I guess he's just gonna be on a tangent then.
Yeah.
Too bad. Okay.
Don't worry, I kept it going.
Is your mic plugged in? Go into options and see what mic is it's selected.
Oh, jeez. All right. I can hear him, but he can't hear me, and I'm
sorry about the
God, what is this new layout for Skype? What the hell? I don't know where anything is now because it's trying to be Skype, Discord.
Which is the not updated one, you go tools and then options.
Where's the
and
tools?
And then you see which mic it's using, and then you switch to the correct one.
Blue snowball microphone.
Dang it.
All right, I'm disconnecting. I'm just gonna call him again. Maybe it'll disconnect. Dun dun dun.
Hello.
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 Hello. Can you hear me?
I still can't hear a thing that you're saying.
Is Skype still being glitchy?
It's just complete silence on my end.
Oh my God. What a terrible service. What a terrible website. What a terrible app. What a terrible world. Everything's bad. Why do we even bother? Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, give me a
Hello?
1 second. Let me try something.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, what's even the point of anything? We should all just kill ourselves.
Wait. I think I figured out how to work it. Just give me a sec. Yeah, what's the point of life? It doesn't really matter anyway. In the long run.
Did you hear
in the
that?
end of things.
Hi. How are you?
I can't hear anything that you're saying, but just give me a second and let me try something.
I'm still talking. I'm just kind of waiting for you to respond. Oh my god. Here, I'll just keep talking anyway.
I can hear you now. What were you talking about?
Oh, I was just talking about stuff.
What stuff?
Video games, movies, life, the internet. Kind of went on a little bit of a... It wasn't just one topic. It went to a couple places.
Tell me what you said.
Well, I talked about how the Halo franchise is past its prime. I talked a little bit about the way YouTube's policies are currently. I talked about how basically every website on the internet is garbage now.
Except for Pornhub. Pornhub is good.
I said RedTube, actually. But you know what? That's a good... Since they're part of the same parent network and they're basically the same site with a different logo, I'll agree with you.
Pornhub analytics are absolutely hilarious to look at.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
I'm going to look up Pornhub analytics.
We're going to look that up? Oh, God.
I'm sorry, but remember, this is on my
channel. This podcast is taking such a turn. Oh, boy.
So
my friend with a business degree is supposed to message me tonight so we can work on contracts for my comic book.
What? Why do you want contracts?
The contracts.
1 second. What's your life like?
I don't know, it's alright. It's got some problems lately.
Such as?
I don't know, I don't feel like talking about it.
Why?
Because it makes me sad.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm thinking about actually finally really going through with that Resident Evil video game retrospective review series. Now, I think I've already kind of parsed out the way I would, line up the games in my head.
So you're thinking about doing that?
I would do one video for the original trilogy of them, and then one for, the side games.
So how many games are there in the series?
I'd have to go check. Let me see. How many Resident Evil games? How many Resident Evil games are there? When you look up the movies, it gives you just 6. It's really easy. Resident Evil. Let's see here. This article is about the media franchise. Let's see. Alright, timeline. Oh, that's director's cut of the first game, so we'll just consider that the same one.
Yeah.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
There are too many Resident Evil games.
23, 24, 25.
There are too many of these.
Most of them are remakes of the same couple of games.
How does that compare to Spider-Man?
What do you mean? Spider-Man, there's been I don't know, there's been
you need to know
10,
this.
I think. Why am I the be-all end-all answer about Spider-Man games?
I wonder why.
I don't know.
It's such a strange mystery.
Yeah.
I mean, audience, can you help us answer why I would think that Xavier is the be-all end-all of Spider-Man games?
I'm sure they'll have a very, very snarky answer for that.
What?
I don't know. I don't know anymore. What's even going on with this pod? Is this entertaining to listen to? Seriously, the people listening to this. There's a lot of awkward pauses. There's a lot of spots where we run out of stuff to talk about. There's a lot of spots where he cuts me off. There's a lot of spots where I just start rambling. Like is this good? Is this like worthless? Like, would you recommend this to other people to waste their time listening to? Who even sits through all of this? What kind of madman would do that? Do you like turn it on and listen to it on a long commute to work? Do you listen to this while you draw comic books, Dane?
Yes.
What about you, Scrubs? When do you have time to listen to this? I know Andrexman listens to it. What is he doing while he's listening? Does he sit there and fall asleep to it? The first 5 minutes are usually the most boring part.
Yes.
Because we're always just kind of like sleepily going, alright, well, okay, let's figure out what to talk about today. Oh, jeez. And then I think we start arguing about things, and then I think I call you a couple of names, and then it gets rolling. But, like, is this good?
Do you want to know?
I can't even tell anymore.
So I'm on the Pornhub analytics. Do you want to know what the top new trending search term of 2017 was?
What?
Do you want to guess?
I don't want to guess because I know I have like that amazing luck where if I say it out loud, my little sister is going to walk into the room going, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm going to be like,
"Guess."
"Giant black cock BJs" or something. And she'll be like, "Hey, brother, oh my god."
Yes.
And it'll be really embarrassing.
Yes.
So, how about, I don't know, new search term? Like a new one that hasn't existed before 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna guess Trump.
Nope.
Because that's all everyone ever talks about anymore.
Fidget spinner.
Jesus fucking Christ. Are you serious?
Yes. And of course the top search term is of course lesbian.
Oh, yeah. I mean, who doesn't love a little bit of that?
Lesbian, MILF, stepsister, stepmom, mom, teen, Asian cartoon.
Now type all of that in at once and see what the first video is.
Yeah, and it's also in the UK. Their top 10 trending search term was fidget spinner too.
Why?
And of course, their top trending search term is also their top search term is lesbian as well. And then MILF, stepsister, stepmom, British, lesbian seduces straight. I mean, India. There's Indian auntie.
What the fuck? I guess that speaks a lot to what the culture is. What's Canada's top search word?
Lesbian.
Lesbian, okay.
You gonna guess what
right.
Japan is?
Hentai.
Japanese.
Japanese people like Japanese people. What a shock.
Hentai is like...
It'd be really weird is if you search up what it was in China too.
Hentai
and the word was... No, you know what would be funny? Is if you search up what the highest searched word in China is too, and it's still Japanese, and you're like, oh, well, maybe they finally made amends.
Mm-hmm. Germany is German. Australia is lesbian. Italy is amateur Italian. Guess they're not quite as into lesbians as they're just into amateur Italians. Do you want to guess what the number one top trending search term and top search in Brazil is?
Oh god, in Brazil? Let me guess, Brazilian.
Overwatch. And then the top trending search term was Overwatch hentai.
I figured that would be the top trending search term, like, in America, considering how obsessed everyone is with it.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm just looking through
this. Maybe you should put background music in to fill in the spots where I forget what to say.
Most viewed category worldwide.
Lesbian.
Yep. Number 2?
Well, of course. It's like it's the catch-all. No one will ever say no to it. It's cool, you know. We finally figured out what everyone is collectively into. You can't say no to that. Even gay guys think it's great.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Let's see. In most of Europe, the top viewed category is school. In like America, Canada, Mexico, UK, Australia, basically the entire Anglosphere is lesbian. Ebony is all of Africa. In basically all of Asia, the most viewed category is, guess what, hentai.
Yeah, I could see that.
Do you want to guess what the... Oh, here's an interesting one. Top searches in Pornhub gay.
What?
Japanese.
Really? That's not what I thought I was gonna hear.
What
That's
did you
weird.
think you were gonna hear?
I don't know, something like cosplay or something, or like S&M something or other.
Number one is Japanese.
I don't know what
number
people
two
are
is
into.
Korean. Then it's straight first time.
I'm so
straight
disconnected
friend,
from the human race at this point. I don't even know what porn they like.
Straight. There's a lot of straights in the gay searches.
There's a lot of straight. What?
Yeah, there's straight first time, straight friend, straight seduced, straight, and then there's college roommates.
I think that might be gay people projecting. Like they have like a straight friend they really wanna turn,
bang.
but they can't quite get that to work out. So they have like this. Oh God! Whatever made that noise was probably good.
Top trending male search terms, with an increase of 1,390% is that your boner, and then the 496% up this year was bro, is that your dick?
Bro, is that your dick?
Yeah, what else is it?
just checking.
Our statisticians discovered that 37% of visitors to Pornhub gay pages are in fact women.
I guess I could kind of understand that. It's kind of like the inverse of like why dudes like the Lebanon stuff, the Lebanon stuff.
Most search terms by gender.
The thespian stuff. I think half the listener base is already left by this point. There was that whole tangent where I was just talking while you were gone.
In editing, I'm just gonna speed that up.
Please don't speed it up. I think it was funny. I don't like when you sped things up last week.
You told me to.
No, I didn't. That's the thing, is you said, what if I sped it up? And I said, I don't know, maybe. And then you did it, and then you said it was my idea.
It was
in the
your
comments.
idea.
I swear to God it's not.
It is.
I can show you the messages. You suggested it, and I was like, yeah, maybe. I didn't confirm. You brought it up.
Hmm.
Huh? Huh. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, the Hellraiser movies are pretty cool. We enjoyed those.
You did.
Oh, well, I did.
And I did.
Yeah, you did too. We should watch Hellraiser 3 or whatever it's called.
I've heard that it goes down in quality.
Now, I want to know if it's down in quality enough that it's like funny and you can laugh at it, or cringe at it at least, or is it
There's
just
the one with Henry Cavill.
Or is it just slightly more boring? That's what confuses me, is that Henry Cavill had a career prior to being Superman. Because I only remember one movie that
Remember
he was
when
in,
he was in Mission Impossible before he was in Superman?
No. That's how little on-screen presence he had before he was wearing Superman's costume.
He was in Mission Impossible, or no, Man from U.N.C.L.E. after. And now he's in Mission Impossible after. So he's doing a lot of spy movies after being taken on the tights.
Yeah. No, okay. Can anyone tell me the name of this movie, since I can't remember it? I don't feel like looking it up.
What?
There was a movie where Henry Cavill played like some ordinary dude guy who was sad because his brother was missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
He lived in like a farm, I guess, in the boonies. And then his brother comes back one day, and he's played by Dominic Purcell, the older guy, the older brother from Prison Break. and Heatwave and the Flash. He shows up with like a big hobo beard and like
Blood
super
Creek.
long hair. Is it?
Or
and then he shows up.
I just
and then
searched
he's like,
Dominic Purcell, Henry Cavill, and then Blood Creek came up.
Is that part of a series? Because I swear I've heard that title before, and I don't associate it with the memory of this movie.
It's just the one movie.
Oh, okay.
It's got Nazis in it.
There's something about like a backstory where there's like a family that had some kind of Nazi curse put on them in a farm, so they couldn't leave the farm, and they were all immortal as long as there was a demon there, and they kept feeding it on a regular basis with like slaves. And Dominic Purcell's character was some dude they snatched up, and they kept him in a barn just leaking blood off of him to feed to this Nazi ghost that was in their basement or something. And then he escaped. And then he's like, I'm going to go back there and kill those bastards for what they did to me. And Henry Cavill's like, bro, don't do it. And then they went together. And then they fought a Nazi ghost. And then they fought a Nazi ghost. And then I think everyone, all the family were like, we're sorry, but we were trapped this way. We're immortal unless you get rid of the Nazi ghost.
So I've discovered how many searches there were for Donald Trump on Pornhub. I'm looking in the analytics. Do you want to guess how many there were?
Sure. What?
424,000.
So it does exist.
But like the number one searched person on Pornhub was Kim Kardashian with 22 million. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So. There's the movie about Nazis, but there's also Pornhub.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there what if you search up Nazis on Pornhub? What happens then?
Why don't you go and try it?
I don't want that in my search history.
Well, I don't want that in my search history either.
I have a feeling it would have something related to that one internet artist who keeps pissing everyone off once a week.
Who's that?
I think his name's Shadman. He just draws the worst things he can think of over and over, and just keeps getting progressively worse. It's more shock value than anything, and people keep falling for it, which I think is kind of silly. Like, by now you'd think he's just trying to get attention, just leave him be, you know, but like there's still another outrage every couple of days. I follow some people on Twitter who repost some weird shit. I have one friend who's really nice on Twitter, but boy does he retweet a lot of furry porn. Primarily gay furry porn. And I don't know how to tell him that, like, I want him to stop, because every time I open Twitter in public, I have to kind of look over my shoulder like, oh god, I hope he didn't retweet anything again today. But, you know, he's a really cool guy, and, you know, we've had a lot of nice conversations, and he gives me advice for art stuff for some of my comic books I'm trying to publish. But just, there's so much furry stuff. Like, there's also, like the inner workings of the furry community.
Yeah.
Like, apparently they all hate each other, and there's, like, politics and, like, discourse. There's discourse between big names in the furry community.
The furry community is the only like, fandom that doesn't really agree with itself on what it is.
Are we just a bunch of cosplayers, or are we a sex thing?
So nobody has, like, an agreement on that. So that's the thing there. So anyway,
hey, my friend with a business degree just sent me some contracts. Speaking of comic books, I'm working on publishing comic books, as everyone knows, or at least one comic book I'm trying to publish. The other one is just getting posted online.
That's because you don't own the copyright to that one.
Yeah, but I'm writing it anyway, because fuck it. It's fun.
So what's the difference, in your mind, between the comic book that you're writing and something like Spider-Man UE4?
The Contest of Slashers thing? Well, for one, I don't treat people who work with me like shit.
As far as you
know. I also don't claim that I have any right to these characters, and if I was asked to stop, I would do it, and I would understand why, and I would not make a giant hissy fit and pretend like I'm a victim. Because they're not my characters to own. I'm just writing a fun thing, in my free time with them. Because a lot of people do that, There's lots of fan art out there. There's lots of fan comics. There's lots of fan fiction. It's just one of those things.
There should be less fan fiction, because...
Because then what would you read on the podcast, David?
Well, I only did that like twice. Well, also because fan fiction
feels like more times.
Is a dumpster fire.
Okay.
Not quite as big as a dumpster fire as my YouTube channel, but still a dumpster fire, nonetheless.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm writing it.
What are you writing?
Sorry, I got distracted. I'm to actually like a serious business conversation about contracts, about character rights.
Read it out to us in your most wacky voice.
Thank you. I'm gonna read over this and answer the questions. So, by the way this document is written, I'm getting that the artists will be considered co-creator and hold partial rights to the story. And, yeah. Rates paid by publishers upon delivery of the work shall be excluded from the provision and shall be negotiated separately by writer and artist on their own behalf and paid directly to the applicable party. Is that what you wanted?
Sure, why not?
Yeah. You have a business degree or something.
No, I don't.
You're doing something boring and stupid.
I'm going to a school for cool kids. Not like your nerd college.
Yeah, school for cool kids. Cool kids who really love... What's that one president?
Isn't
he like the dean of your... Yeah, Taft. Isn't the dean of your school like an expert on one of the presidents?
He's an expert on the president that really likes jelly beans.
You see, that's so stupid that I don't know who you're saying that about. So.
Well, neither does the audience, and that's the point.
So what do you think of the Ugandan Knuckles meme? I think it's pretty funny.
What's the Ugandan Knuckles meme?
Okay, so you know that VR chat thing? Like, they basically created, like, something like Ready Player One, but less obnoxious. Where, it's just kind of this 3D environment, and it has online servers with as many people as possible, and you put on a VR helmet, and you can just choose your character model to be pretty much whoever. Whichever ones they've ported to the game, which happens to be a lot. So, someone set their character model to, like, Knuckles from Sonic, but... I don't know why, but it looks really weird and bizarre and has giant puffy eyeballs and a really round and short body. And they just started walking around in a couple of videos, talking in a Ugandan accent, and I guess saying a couple of things in some kind of Ugandan language I'm not aware of, and asking random people, "Do you know the way?" And then clicking a whole bunch, and then just being super strange, and there was like 50 of them, so they're like this tiny little cult of Knuckles monsters.
Ugandan Knuckles monsters?
Ugandan Knuckles.
Okay.
And they're just clicking and saying weird shit, and it's just bizarre. It's like watching a fever dream.
Oh, so it's like watching your YouTube channel then.
Hey, my stuff's like partially easy to understand. It's somewhat coherent.
Somewhat.
There's times where suddenly in the middle of my cosplay video, I'll just start talking about cooking food and see if anyone even notices.
And then there's also the times when you suddenly become a different person.
When did that happen?
Last year.
Ooh, what are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about.
I'm kind of not sure.
Good.
Okay.
So I might
right.
actually eventually go and see the new Space Wizards movie.
I don't care anymore whether or not you see
Why?
it. It's been too. It's the same thing as like Incredibles 2. It's like it's past its relevancy point. I don't give a shit.
Like
I'm
the
done
movie
talking
came
about
out
Star Wars with you.
less than a month ago.
Yeah, we're done. It's not relevant anymore. We're moving on to the next thing.
Why,
we're all going to complain about Han Solo.
Like Blade Runner if that movie came out like months ago?
Because Blade Runner is a better movie.
But how do I know
Blade
that?
Blade Runner is worth talking about months later. Star Wars, while I didn't hate it, it has a short life cycle of interest to me.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's probably the best Star Wars movie I've seen in the past 10 years.
That's not saying much. Because think about what it's going up against. It's going up against Rogue One, the animated Star Wars movie, the animated
Clone Wars movies.
Do you even remember that?
I remember there was a part where they did some Looney Tunes bullshit where a wall fell down on Anakin Skywalker, but he managed to be in the spot where the window was, so it landed around him instead of crushing him to death. And then he was like, "Ho-ho! Wow! That was wacky! Ha-ha! Let's get on with our adventure, kiddies!" And he's Darth Vader. He killed a bunch of children shortly after.
Yeah, I mean, just don't tell the people.
He killed a classroom full of people.
Don't tell the people who really love the light cheery Clone Wars series that he's gonna be a mass murderer in like 5 years.
I think there's some like dark moments in that show from what I remember. I think they did an episode where there's a clone who learns what Order 66 is like way too early, and then he has a giant like fucking spastic meltdown about it and starts.
Don't they all know what that is anyway?
No. Like they don't. It's like a pre-programmed thing that they have like memory suppressors around. But he specifically finds out what it is, and then he goes like crazy and becomes a psycho and starts like killing people, and he has like dark circles under his eyes, and he's talking like a drug addict, and he's like, "They're gonna make us kill everyone. I've seen terrible things, and he's like having like Vietnam flashbacks.
Do you remember the episode where
they
had a Godzilla monster running across Coruscant?
No, that sounds so awesome.
They did.
But Coruscant has like 500-story tall buildings. How big would that be?
Dumbly big.
I love dumbly big monsters. Did you know that in that Netflix Godzilla movie, he's actually like 5 or 6 times the size of the biggest Godzilla ever?
What Netflix Godzilla movie?
There's a Netflix animated Godzilla film.
Oh, is that the anime?
Produced. Yeah, it's produced in Japan, but they're gonna port it over here soon.
So Netflix bought the rights for it because Netflix has all the money in the world.
Basically. But Godzilla in it is like the size of a mountain, basically, instead of the size of a building, because it takes place on like an alien planet, like a bunch of explorers. It's like in the future. It's like a bunch of Star Trek dudes, basically, are like exploring other planets, and then they find a planet, and they're like, "What's on here?" And then they land, and then they're like, "Oh no, it's a Godzilla. Quick, let's mobilize the military forces, and let's kick his ass so we can colonize this place." And he's like, "Nah!" And he's like super big. And, yeah.
Okay, then.
Being a Godzilla fan is very similar to being a WWE fan.
Why?
Because the thing you like is dumb, and all you care about is like which people get to fight which other people.
And you know it's
every
fake.
time you try to tell someone, and you know it's fake, but you enjoy it anyway. And when you try to get other people to enjoy or care about your hobby, unless they're like 2 years old, they're always gonna look at you like you're a fucking idiot.
Well, I look at you like you're an idiot anyway, so it doesn't really change anything between us.
I love Godzilla. sometimes I criticize Godzilla when people are very confused. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing more movies where the different versions of Godzilla fight other versions of Godzilla, because that was probably one. Godzilla
Mendoza would fight all the other Godzillas.
Yeah, I want to fight Godzilla. That people have drawn fan art of Godzilla with red hair and glasses. And I very much approve of it. I have like 5 or 6 of those now.
You should write some fan fiction about you as Godzilla.
It's like the dumbest. I haven't given up that hard on any hopes of ever getting a girlfriend again. That's something I'll do when I know for sure that there's no woman out there on the planet for me.
I already know that for sure.
Oh. Wait, do you mean for you or for me? Oh. You dick?
I was just saying that to insult you.
Sure you were. Wait, what? I like how that's your justification to make it sound not as bad as it was. I was just trying to hurt your feelings. Don't take it so hard.
That's what we do to each other all the time. Our friendship is based upon insulting each other.
Our friendship is based on put downs.
Yeah.
Isn't that what friendship is?
Roasted.
Oh. So anyway, my favorite dumb Godzilla moment, because every Godzilla moment is dumb, but my favorite dumb Godzilla moment that's particularly dumb is, do you remember that 1998 Roland Emmerich directed Godzilla film? That's a lot of fish. That's a lot of fish. I was just about to say that. You read my mind. Okay, so the version of Godzilla in that, which is like basically a dumb, shitty T-Rex because Jurassic Park just came out and they wanted to capitalize off of it. That version of Godzilla was slated to have a couple of sequels that they never ended up doing. They just kind of went with a cartoon series. But whichever company, I think it was Toho. I could be mistaken, but the Japanese company that owns the Japanese rights for Godzilla at the time was like, well, we're planning on making a couple more Godzilla movies. So, they made one called, like, Godzilla 2000 is like here's us trying to, like, kind of middle finger the U.S. for its shitty attempt. But that didn't do well at the box office in the U.S. But later, they did a movie called Godzilla Final Wars, which was supposed to be, like, a closer for all of the Godzilla lore, since his movie series had been going for, like, something like 40 years at that point. So they're like, okay, let's close it down. Let's tie up all these characters that have or haven't died. Let's have like a big brawl with all the old monsters and tie it together with some plot about aliens invading. So they bought the rights to the 1998 shitty Roland Emmerich Godzilla and then made that canon to their series specifically so they could have a scene where Godzilla, the Japanese one, meets the tiny T-Rex one and then kills him in one hit. That's my cat. Do you hear him?
I do.
That's awesome. Like, there's even a scene where they're, like, talking about it, and they're like, hey, that looks kind of like Godzilla. And they're like, nah, it's too small. It's more like a dinosaur. We just call him Zilla, because he's not cool. He's not Godzilla. He's fucking Nerdzilla.
So they just threw shade at the Roland Emmerich film.
Oh, yes. And then, of course, because what happens is Godzilla meets that one. The tiny one runs at him, and then he smacks it with his tail, and then it flies and smashes into a building, and then he shoots it with a laser, and it explodes. And it's really violent and horrible the way it dies. Like, it got killed harder than anything else in the whole movie. And then the guy who, like, deployed all the evil monsters is like, you stupid tuna-headed piece of shit! Because he's disappointed that it didn't work out.
Well, I mean, who wouldn't be disappointed with that?
Everyone was disappointed.
Except for Roland Emmerich. Roland Emmerich still thinks he made a good film.
To this day, he still to this day defends it and is like, it's misunderstood.
You know what? You want to know what my favorite dumb Godzilla moment is?
Which one?
It's from the very first movie. It's when they...
Is it where the guy with an eye patch creates a bomb that sucks the oxygen out of water?
They create a bomb that sucks the oxygen out of the world. It's just like, wait, what?
Wouldn't the water not exist anymore?
If you suck the oxygen
Why is
out
there
of water,
still water?
then it's just carbon dioxide. Or no, it's just hydrogen.
Is it liquid hydrogen?
There's no such thing as liquid hydrogen. Even if they're worried, it would have to be really, really cold.
Maybe it's just really, really cold. Like, my problem is that how much of a radius would that have? Wouldn't that kill, like, the entire ocean?
Mm-hmm.
Or how would you suck the oxygen out of one spot of water without the other water surrounding it just rushing back in?
That's my favorite dumb Godzilla moment, because it's just like the complete absence of science.
They must have just wrote in the script science, 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 like a Star Trek episode.
That's what they did with Star Trek episodes, except that with the Star Trek episodes, they would fill
but then
that
they
in
actually
later
talk
with
professionals.
Stuff.
Yeah, with Godzilla, they just wrote science, 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 and then had the actors just kind of come up with it on set. It's a bomb that sucks hydrogen out of Godzilla. Godzilla's plural? There's more than one?
Godzillas?
Sure, I don't know. Godzillas.
They're all Godzillas.
Godzilla's Mendoza?
Godzilla's Mendozas?
Do you know there's a couple of Godzilla movies that involve time travel? What? More than one Godzilla movie involves aliens coming to Earth.
What?
In one version of it, his origin is that he's some kind of like super T-Rex that existed in after the dinosaurs died out, and he's like 5 stories tall, and that's it, right? But then aliens travel back in time and then infect him with super radiation to make him even bigger. But then there's another version of it where he's like a gecko that falls into a nuclear reactor. But then there's another one where he's like some kind of sea creature that was affected by like nuclear dumping in the ocean. But then there's another one where the Hiroshima bomb mutated him and he was just like some kind of like slug or lizard or something. It's like every time Godzilla shows up, he has a different origin story. He's like the Joker, but a lizard. My favorite is that
how I got these.
He's just an old
hear how I got
monster.
These forehead ridges or something?
You want to hear how I got these spines on my back?
Exactly.
You want to hear how I got the name Godzilla? Because it directly translates to gorilla whale?
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird, long story.
Why don't we just make a movie
Godzilla
where he's the hero?
There are several of those.
Like?
Where Godzilla's the hero? There's probably more of those than ones where he's the villain.
Where is he the villain?
Well, there's the original movie. He's considered a villain. There's also the newest one, Shin Godzilla, where he basically nukes Tokyo.
He's basically Fukushima on legs.
There's There's Godzilla 1985, which is a direct sequel to the 1954 movie that also ignores all the other ones prior to it. So in that new continuity suggested by Godzilla 1985, he died 30 years ago, and then nothing happened. There was no other monsters, there was no other Godzilla, and then he showed back up again one day, pissed more than ever. And they brought back a whole bunch of characters and plot lines from the first movie that the rest of the series gave up on.
Bring back, what's his name? The guy...
The eye patch scientist?
The guy that just narrated everything in the American version.
Oh yeah, the white guy. Yeah, Raymond Burr. He did. He wasn't in the Japanese version of Godzilla of 1985, but they brought him back to be digitally inserted and added into the American re-release. They Rogue One'd him 2 times 30 years apart.
Wow.
Yeah.
At least did they see?
Awesome.
Did it look as terrible as it did in Rogue One?
Well, he wasn't like inserted via blue screen. It was more like It was more like
Uncanny
he's
Valley.
not in the same. It wasn't Uncanny Valley. It was more like he's never in the same shot as any other characters, and if he is, it's like a lot of creative editing so that it seems like the story is about him being like an investigator going to figure out what's wrong with Japan, and then he's just kind of there, even though the whole movie could function without him. Because I guess they were like, Americans aren't gonna like this movie. Yeah, because I guess they were like...
Because they basically cut in a big star in America because they were nervous that Americans wouldn't want to watch the movie.
Part of me is like a little cynical and also wants to think that maybe it was like still a little bit of a racism thing because we just got done with World War II.
That too, probably.
You know,
we're
probably still really sore at them.
Americans won't watch a movie with Japanese people in it. We need to have a white person in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was also the fact that the movie was about how bad the nuclear bombings were, and kind of like, man, they really fucked us over. Like, it's not exactly... There's some implications about a dislike of America's actions. They're never explicitly stated.
So, basically...
Because they're like, the bomb was bad, but they never directly talk about who launched it. They just said the bomb itself was bad. So it's
so
kinda...
they
You know,
so the original was about Hiroshima, and Shin Godzilla was more about Fukushima. So what I remember about Shin Godzilla was there were a lot of people sitting in rooms talking about stuff,
which was kind of like supposed to be like satire about like bureaucracy and how there's a bunch of people sitting in corporate boardrooms arguing about shit all day. Like there's a giant monster outside eating people.
Let's go talk.
But guys. Let's talk about it in our office.
And let's go into another office just so we can talk about it.
And then talk about it there. And then there's a guy who's just like the young upstart who's just super frustrated because everyone keeps talking in offices. And he's like, let's just fucking fight him! No, hold on. We have to talk about this first. And he's like, come on! That's my favorite part about it. It's the stupid... There's one guy who's like totally right and everyone's just making it worse.
Well, that's Japan for you. That's Japan for you.
In what regard?
I'm gonna let you guess.
I don't know.
I was making a joke about how Japan is terrible.
Oh.
Sorry, Japan viewers. I don't like Japan. There's too many people.
If we had a person in Japan watching us, I'd be very excited. If you're from Japan, hello.
I think most of our viewers are from America, Canada, UK, and some from Australia. It's mostly the Anglosphere.
You know what else was a cool Godzilla thing? Is I really liked how every Godzilla movie is like a direct sequel to the 1954 movie, but not a direct sequel to each other. Like all of them have that one as a thing in the past. Like they're always...
It'd be like...
Yeah, they're always going, it's the first Godzilla!
If all of the Star Wars sequels were a sequel to A New Hope, but none of the other ones.
Yeah, so like if Episode 6 referenced Episode 4, but not Episode 5.
So he wouldn't have lost his hand.
Yeah, right? Like it just started over. It's, Yeah, it's pretty much like that. Sometimes there are ones that are directly connected. Like, there's this little plot thread about Godzilla having a son or something.
Oh, yeah, I remember watching some of those. Those are really dumb.
There's multiple times they tried that. One time it's like this stupid-looking, like, rubber piece of shit with a dumb-looking face named Manila or whatever. Milli Vanilli. And then there's later on they try to do another one that's more of like a cutesy anime looking Godzilla that's like has the same skin texture, but he has like giant bulbous anime eyes. And then after his daddy Godzilla goes nuclear, because Godzilla's heart is actually an organic nuclear reactor that melts down, and they have to hose him down with coolant and freeze his body, or else the nuclear meltdown would kill the whole Earth because he's that powerful. And then after that, the new tiny baby shitty Godzilla shows up, and he's like half the size, and then I think he gets his ass kicked by Desotroya. And Desotroya is great because they couldn't just call him Destroyer. His name is Desotroyah. Desotroya!
It's very Japanesey.
Yeah. Desotroya.
Am I racist?
Kinda. Well, anyway, that was the Godzilla cast. Oh.
But then again, you also have a black uncle, so you can't be racist.
Okay.
So... you like Godzilla movies, but you don't really like anime.
I like some anime, but I have a hard time stomaching most of it.
Okay, let's do some more salt. What's your least favorite anime?
Fucking Fate Zero is a piece of shit. I hate it. It's garbage.
People
who like Fate Zero are stupid.
roommate
It's like
likes
Game of
Fate
Thrones,
Zero.
but for stupid weeaboos. Fate Zero is like, here's a billion characters, here's a bunch of dumb rules that we're going to contradict every 5 minutes, here's a bunch of dumb plot threads that don't connect to the main plot thread, here's a bunch of fight scenes that are really cool that are disconnected by, like, 20-hour gaps of just people going over expositional dialogue. Here's a fight scene where these two characters are in the Batcave from Dark Knight. Just a bunch of bullshit. This character's backstory is he was on an island with a zombie virus that outbroke, and then he got saved by some lady who became both his mother figure and his love interest, and then she died in a plane crash later or some stupid thing. It's dumb. It's stupid. It's weird. It's a big double standard because every dumb thing about Godzilla, I'm aware it's dumb and I'm forgiving of it. But in Fate Zero, it makes me hate it. And I'm very aware of this double standard, and I don't care. You can send if you have comments, questions, or concerns about my double standard on anime in Japan, send them to @cautiouslyreal on twitter.com. The DMs are open.
Please don't. Send them.
Please do it. Please send. I want 6 messages about how much of an asshole I am by the end of tonight after you're listening to this, okay?
No.
You better do it.
No.
If you don't do it.
No. Send them to I don't care at thisisn'tareal.email.address.com.
Well, geez, no, you sure open yourself up for some trouble with that one. Your email is just going to be so full. Anyway, that's the end of the podcast. Bye, everyone. See you next week. Thanks to Matt Brett for the new art for this week. It looks really great.
Wait, what?
Thanks, Matt.
We have new art for this week?
Yeah, look at yourself. You have a new mug. Your hair is more detailed.
I could just not have the new art in this one.
You better do it, or else we'll look really stupid.
No, you'll look really
stupid.
I won't.
He got my haircut super accurate, and he also made my nose mouth look more like a nose instead of a mouth.
See, you're admitting that it looks like a mouth.
However, I will be keeping the other art from the last round of things in my main channel because I like it. And Matt didn't draw 50 other expressions on the face of this drawing.
So even if we do it, it's only going to be a one-time thing.
What do you mean? This art for this week's? Why?
Because I only have one expression, and I like to switch them around.
Oh. Well, then you could just go in on MS Paint and scribble it a little.
No. Is Ash vs. Evil Dead any good?
Ash vs. Evil Dead? It's pretty good. It's kind of a really good middle ground between the tone of Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, because it's horror comedy to just straight up slapstick comedy. And I think it finds a really nice middle ground where it can kind of play to people whose preference is either one. So, yeah, I'd recommend it.
Yeah. It's on Netflix, and it looks mildly interesting. Who's Ash?
Yeah. Wait, it's on Netflix?
Yes.
Oh shit, are you serious? Finally!
I'm on Netflix right now, and I see it.
Does it have both seasons?
2 seasons.
Awesome. I say watch it, dude. It's fun.
I remember you showed me the pilot a while ago.
Yeah. I showed it to you right after we got done marathoning Evil Dead 2 and...
and by the way, it was story time for you. Did I ever tell you about the time when I was kidnapped and forced to watch Evil Dead?
No, I didn't know about that. What happened?
I was dropped off at your house because my mom had to do something, and he was like, "Hey, can you watch this person for a couple hours?" So then, while my mom was off doing stuff, I was stranded at this loser's house, And then he said, hey, why don't we watch Evil Dead? And I thought, I'm not really all that into it. So we put Evil Dead in the DVD player, and we watched Evil Dead 2. And then we watched Army of Darkness, and then I'm like, oh, can't we make it stop? I'm tired of this. And he's like, no, we have to watch Ash vs. Evil Dead. So, yeah, I was forced to watch the Ash vs. Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness.
I was more almost trying to get like an opinion on what it was like to transition from Army of Darkness to the first episode of the show, since there was such a ginormous gap between them for fans of the franchise. But if you're someone who hadn't seen any of it, you're just... It's like one adventure ends and then another starts like 2 seconds later, and it's like, even though Bruce Campbell's a bajillion years older
like,
now,
this is
it's almost like he's the same old character.
So
it's
it
great.
was really exhausting watching all of these in a row.
I get that. Well, be glad I made you skip the first one because I felt like it wasn't too plot crucial. Because technically that one didn't happen in the story.
In the story of what?
I'm gonna get yelled at by someone for this, but I don't like Evil Dead 1 that much. Like, it has some merit. It's not bad. I just prefer Evil Dead 2 because it feels like it's nailed down what makes the series special better. Because it has a chainsaw arm. And, you know, Evil Dead 1, it doesn't really have that character that the second one has. Because Ash in the first one is just like a normal dude. He hasn't really done anything, like, crazy yet, or he hasn't, like, gotten his own personality and established himself. He's just like the one that survived till the end.
How about the remake? Is the remake any good?
I haven't seen it.
Oh.
I know that it ends on a post-credits scene about Ash showing up that never happened for a potential sequel to that.
All I know is that it had Sam Raimi's approval.
Pretend that it has Sam Raimi's approval. I guess you could just pretend that post-credits scene on that was just leading up to the show. You know, because there was such a gigantic gap...
You know, Evil Dead, the remake, really confuses me because it seems a little bit too serious for a series that's very campy. So it's closer to the first movie in tone, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. You know, I think, I think I don't mind the remake's existence, since I know eventually I got my sequel about Ash. I was very mad that it turned out that way there, because I looked at the trailer and I was like, this is generic. You know, because the teenager's going out to a cabin in the woods and finding something, you know, evil and sinister. That's literally such a trope that they made a whole movie devoted to making fun of that, called Cabin in the Woods. So doing that just seemed like counterintuitive, because the thing that made Evil Dead special is that it's that premise, but with a twist, where, you know, there's actually a really, really awesome main character who becomes like an action hero. And then if you strip out the action hero, cool guy main character, it goes back to being generic again. So I don't know what they were going for with that. I wasn't into it.
You know what? The one thing that I remember from Evil Dead, it's not Ash, it's not Bruce Campbell, it's the Deadite camera move.
Oh yeah, the way they did the first person view from the perspective of the ghost
remember
chasing around Ash.
Like, whenever I see like that
cool.
sort of like aggressive, weird photography, I always think, oh, it's the Evil Dead thing.
Yeah, I see that. Hey, you want to know something kind of funny? Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th franchise is in fact a Deadite.
Who?
You know, Jason, hockey mask man.
Is that
kills
a comic
people,
thing?
Camp Crystal Lake. No, it's another movie series.
No, was that revealed in a comic book?
It was actually revealed in a
movie?
Jason Goes to Hell. They find the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, the book with the face. They find that and start reading out of it. Like, they even show the inside of it. It's pages from Evil Dead. It's the same prop, and then they start reading shit out of it. And then the director confirmed later, Jason is just a type of Deadite. So then they started doing comics on it later.
Well, if it's in a comic book, it's not canon.
Well, yeah, I mean, sure, but because it was in a movie, it was canon.
No, because it's in a comic book, it's not canon.
So technically, they all exist in the same, like, Freddy, Jason, and Ash all exist in the same universe. They only fight each other in a comic book, but they do indeed
and then they do
exist
it in a movie
due
too.
to the crossovers. You know how I wish they had gone with the original ending of Freddy versus Jason, where they both get pulled into a portal to hell, and then Pinhead from Hellraiser asks them if there's a problem here and tries to like break it up, and then it leads into a sequel where it's Freddy versus Jason versus Pinhead. That would have been such a cool, stupid direction to take that.
The thing. I'm gonna say that's a bad idea. Because
why?
Here's my reasoning.
Well, the series was already dead by that point. I mean, they did like 15
Hellraiser,
shitty sequels.
To me, isn't about Pinhead.
No, it never should have been. In fact, his story arc ended in the second movie. They should have moved on.
So the 8 sequels after the second movie should never exist.
No, they shouldn't. But if they do exist, at least have fun with it and do something silly with it. Since you're gonna just do something stupid either way. It better be a fun stupid, not a stupid stupid. You know.
Speaking of stupid, did you see the trailer for the new Hellraiser movie?
Hellraiser, Judge, Jury, and Sexecutioner.
Hellraiser, we only made this movie to keep the rights.
Please make the movie poster based on the thing I just said. Because that was the greatest ad-lib. But anyway, Judge, Jury, and Sexecutioner is a police procedural where a bunch of dudes are trying to figure out places that Pinhead's been. Because the crime scenes are so elaborate and weird.
That's a really dumb
and I
angle
think that's...
to put it. Because it turns the Pinhead and the Cenobites from these crazy demons who really like pain and pleasure to just a serial killer.
A really, really, really hard to arrest serial killer. I don't know, I kind of thought about that angle when we were watching Hellraiser 2, because the police are interviewing the main character, Kirsty, and, like, she's being sent to a mental asylum because they saw the handiwork of the first movie and what was left from all that, and were so baffled by what they found that they didn't think she was a suspect, because nothing pointed to that, really. But they did know that whatever happened, it wasn't normal, so they're like, well, what happened? And I feel like the police would have such a hard time filing reports on that and trying to figure out how to explain that. Like, yeah, the house wasn't there, like it disappeared, and then a man with a beard with cockroaches and like grasshoppers coming out of him came over and stole the cube and then turned into a skeletal dragon and flew away or something. But then we got there and the house was there and it was just covered in blood and really, really, really rotted corpses, even though they had only been dead for like a few days. But it looked like they were decayed over the course of 100 years.
Those were the corpses that Julia had killed, which was like over a matter of weeks.
Yeah, but they still looked like they looked like mummies. They had been so dusty and shitty. Because the way Frank like sucked all the blood out of them made them like rot prematurely. So the police would be so baffled by what they saw that they would have such a hard time with it that I kind of want like a dumb comedy movie about that, like them trying to figure out what to do. Like, cause you never think about that. Whenever like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre happens, if there's any evidence left at all, the police are gonna find it and be like, what the hell happened here? Can you imagine, like, being the beat cop who answers the call to go see, like, what's going on during a Friday the 13th movie? And then you get there, and there's, like, 20 people dead in all extremely elaborate ways. There's, like, a 10-foot-tall corpse of a man with a hockey mask who has signs of being killed about 30 times by this point. Who may or may not get back up again. There's traumatized eyewitnesses and survivors saying completely nonsensical things. Like how, who do you go to when that happens, the police can't deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
They just start having to make shit up at that point for the report. So that's what I think is funny.
Wouldn't it be funny to make a movie about, like, if the... here's a pitch for, like, a horror comedy.
Yeah?
Imagine a police procedural about, like, the unit of the FBI that deals with, like, horror movie monsters.
Okay, I'm liking this.
So, like...
So
like, you'll go to the... So, like, it's there that they'll show up at, like, the cabin in the woods with, like, the dumb teenager, and they'll be, like, showing them, like, no, don't split up and all that.
Don't read that book there, ma'am. That's an unregistered supernatural entity.
So it's like Men in Black, but for horror, instead of for sci-fi.
Men in Black, but for, like, 80s slasher movies. That sounds awesome. So, like they have a specific way to arrest
So they have, like, Ghostbusters machines or something?
No, maybe they could just, like, have, like, some kind of, like...
Special...
Based on the rules of each monster, they have a pre-established,
prison.
like...
And then they have, like, a prison.
They have a prison and or a detainment
And then in
method.
the sequel, what happens is that somebody breaks into the prison and lets everybody go.
No, they have an on-staff dream warrior who can manipulate their own dreams, which is a thing from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. They have a staff dream warrior who can detain Jason Voorhees. They have someone who can read the Necronomicon Ex Mortis to put back Deadites without having to actually fight them, and also unkill Jason. Or re-unkill Jason. They have, like, what would they do to deal with, like, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre family? Like, how would they deal with that? I mean, because those guys aren't specifically supernatural. They're just crazy. They'd probably just shoot them all and arrest them.
Yeah.
Sure, just kneecap everyone on sight before they have any time to pull out the chainsaw.
Texas Chainsaw movies, so I wouldn't know.
But I think this idea has potential, assuming someone can get the rights together. It's of the same camp as, like, Cabin in the Woods, but I think it works better.
Actually have the rights, you just did, like, parodies.
So you have, like... but then it would be, like, completely just like Cabin in the Woods at that point, because they had, like, parodies of everything. Like, instead of Pinhead, they had a guy with saw blades in his head.
So it'd be like a Cabin in the Woods, except by way of Men in Black.
That sounds like a Max Landis movie. Because Max Landis is also an amateur screenwriter.
Except that, it wouldn't be bad.
I don't know. It depends on who's doing it.
I mean, like, they did this stuff with, like,
Give it to David Ayer. He'll handle the material.
If in Netflix, if you're watching, we'd be willing to pitch this Netflix original to you.
Yes, we'd be very willing. We just need to be compensated about $20 so that I could stop eating pepperoni
and
packets.
Start eating salami packets.
Salami? Fuck, dude. If I could afford salami, I'd be eating that shit every day. So anyway, yeah, I like this idea. So I don't know if I'm necessarily excited for Hellraiser Judgment. I think the premise is
bad,
not the worst thing, but could be better. I do want a scene, however, where the police show up and then they just slap handcuffs on Pinhead and then are particularly rough, pushing him into the back of the police car, and he's just going, yes, the whole time they're doing it because he loves it so much. And he's like, tighten these handcuffs, please.
Can I say one thing that I didn't talk about in the Couch Potatoes with the Hellraiser movies is how good the lines and the writing are? Because there's stuff like, and to think I hesitated, that's such a great line in the sequel.
We have such sights to show you.
Like the writing is really good.
Jesus wept. There's so many quotable lines from Hellraiser 1 and 2. Yeah, I agree with you. Those are Those are great movies. Like, those are not good by 80s slasher movie standards. Those are just genuinely good movies.
I mean,
well put together.
Split on the second
films.
one. I think it's not as good as the first one. I think what I really appreciated about the first film was how simple it was, and I think the sequel lost some of that. But I still think it's not a bad movie.
I do agree with you on that, but I do like that the second one took the story into the most obvious natural progression and actually like went all the way with it. Because instead of just trying to remake the first movie, they actually were like, well, let's explore some of these other ideas that we didn't really get into. We only touched on them.
I agree with that.
You know, maybe explain some of this other stuff that didn't get talked about at all. So I like the way the sequel kind of ties up all the loose ends from the first one. I think it's a very great companion piece, and they fit well with each other.
But just nothing after
which is
that.
the best you can hope for. Yeah, but which is the best you can hope for with a sequel. So, yeah, I'm fine with both. I don't really know if I have my favorite yet. I think
there's a lot of series where there should only have been 2. Alien 1 and 2,
maybe
Hellraiser
3.
1 and 2, Terminator 1 and 2.
I don't know. I think they could have just stopped at Predator 1.
I thought you liked Predator 2.
I do. I don't think it needs to exist, but I guess I'm happy that it exists.
Star Wars 1 and 2. That's a hot take.
Yeah. Well,
That's another case where the third movie isn't bad, but it just isn't as good as the first two. It's
not as good as the second one. Yeah, because New Hope is good, Empire is better, and then kind of episode 6 is back down to just being good again.
Okay. It's a
arguably bad. Some people hate parts.
Return of the Jedi is a kids movie. Like the first two were all ages, but they had more adult elements to them, especially the second one. But Return of the Jedi went full campy kids movie.
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed that movie a lot more as a kid than I do as a not kid.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I was never really particularly fond of that one. I think even as a kid, I just enjoyed Empire more because I liked the space battles. I liked the scene on Hoth where he's stuck in the ice cave. I was pretty hyped by the Walker battle, but primarily I just loved the elongated lightsaber fight sequence with Luke and Darth Vader. That was like the first fight scene in a movie I'd ever really loved and would watch over and over. I thought that was so cool.
AT-ATs, I have a pretty big nitpick for Rogue One. You know at the end of Rogue One where they have AT-ATs going over the island and shooting everything? Here's my thing. I kind of question the efficacy of giant walker robots on a planet that is 90% water. Cause
they can walk on the beach,
and there's
and that's about it.
So, I kind of question why don't you just have smaller robots that are quicker and more mobile? Cause you're not gonna when you're in the jungle on the beach and all that, you're gonna need quicker mobility to go around and shoot people. I kind of question the efficacy of AT-ATs on a beach.
Yeah,
But here's the thing.
Hey, remember when they also blew up their own planet with all their own dudes on it? I said that,
remember, they're blowing up their own, data storage facility just because somebody stole something from it. I said this on Twitter, but I'm going to repeat it here. It's like if a bank was robbed, and then they just blew up their vault. You've got so much other stuff in there. Why are you blowing it up just because something was taken? Death Star.
Well, yeah, we should just start doing that as a policy. If someone takes money from a bank, just blow up the bank and kill all the workers. So if you're a bank worker, you better hope no one steals anything.
So if somebody breaks into Fort Knox, let's just blow it up with a nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Then this makes perfect sense.
Is Fort Knox still a thing?
What?
Is Fort
It
Knox
still is.
still a thing? What purpose does it serve now, since we no longer have a gold standard?
It still houses gold. But it's also got, like, it also has a bunch of, like, military there and everything.
Okay.
So it's just a military base that happens to have gold on it.
It's kind of weird. What if one of the people working there wants to steal the gold?
Can
someone make a movie about that?
I guess.
Like there's like, let's steal from Fort Knox, and then the joke is that like everyone is like, why would you want to do that?
There's a gold depository inside of Fort Knox. So Fort Knox is a military base that has a gold depository in it. So because there's a lot of military installed on that base, it's basically the same as when the Empire blows up their data vault. So it's like, we're going to blow up our data vault because somebody stole something from it. So because they stole some gold from Fort Knox, we're going to blow up Fort Knox and kill all the 20,000 troops that are in there. Or however many troops there are these days.
Yeah.
So according to this, there's a 10,000 population in there.
That's a lot of dudes. I mean, it is a lot of gold. I guess you don't really want anyone in there.
Yeah. There's about 10,000 people in Fort Knox. So they're all dead because I stole some gold from Fort Knox.
Cool.
This is the art.
The Death Star blew it up.
This is the Empire's logic here.
I mean, remember the Empire's logic was, we need to get information about a small, like, I guess what you could consider from their perspective a terrorist cell, from a piece of royalty, from a major nation that involves about something like 8 billion people, I'm going to imagine. We're interrogating this like foreign dignitary that also happens to be like
a terrorist.
You know, that happens to be allegedly in cahoots with some kind of underground terrorism cell. But because she's not talking, even under extreme duress with like a floating torture robot ball, we decide to kill everyone in her entire country, and she still doesn't tell us. Because like, if we're looking at it like countries or
I would say it's more like
right?
because Alderaan is under the Empire, so I'd say it's like a yeah, I would say it's more like if the United States decided to blow up Kansas, because a terrorist from Kansas wouldn't tell us where the terrorist.
Well, no, like, because Kansas is like kind of barren. I think the population difference.
Okay,
let's go for
Illinois.
something bigger. Let's say they blew up Illinois. There's more people there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we don't need Illinois, and Illinois is a terrible place, but that's not...
Well, the same with Alderaan. I'm glad Alderaan's dead. All the people there were awful.
But then again, that was...
Why would you kill that many people just to interrogate one? And then she still didn't talk, so it's like, oh my god, how much
the
money
logic
did we
of that
lose?
is kind of undercut when...
What about,
here's the thing. With Rogue One now in the Star Wars canon, the logic of that is kind of undercut because... You don't even need to test the battle station because you've already tested it twice.
Oh yeah. Our first official test, and we already used it.
But
two separate times
so the
in
logic before that is that they need to test it out on a planet, and it's also sort of made an example of people who. So you could argue that if Rogue One doesn't exist, they decided to destroy Alderaan as an example to the rest of the Empire, like, hey. Stay in line, or we'll do this to you. And
yeah, we have the button, right?
So it's like a Hiroshima thing.
Yeah,
but with Rogue One,
but if it's like
pointless.
The fifth one you've done, it kind of loses its luster. So Rogue One makes things retroactively make less sense. Like, remember when Darth Vader was walking up to the hallway where the guys were escaping after that giant space battle? and then they close the door on him after he was like killing a bunch of rebels. Then he catches up back to the ship, then walks into the same hallway he didn't get into earlier. And then
why can't
Princess Leia has the gall to look him in the face and say, "Oh no, you're talking about these aren't rebels. We're just we're on business." And he's like, "I fucking killed 19 guys trying to get in here earlier, and they were shooting me, and there was a giant space battle, and the plans were stolen like 15 minutes ago. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, so anybody who says that Rogue One fixes problems in the Star Wars canon is dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't like you. Remember the pig face guy?
Remember the giant telepathic octopus that was there for some reason?
Oh, yeah. Remember how that was supposed to be a scene with a female? It was supposed to be like Jyn Erso got it, right? She got telepathic octopus, but then they're like, hey, this is really rapey. Let's do it on another random dude.
I mean, I rewatched... Okay, let me address this. So I rewatched, whatchamacallits, Rogue One the other day because I felt like I didn't give it a fair shot first time I saw it. So I said, okay, I'll just watch it and I'll reserve judgment until the future. And then I saw it and I thought, okay, it's not as bad as I thought it would be, but it's still kind of... Like, it's just,
I went to see Rogue One on a date. It was not a particularly good date. I think I've told this story before. I ended up getting so bored that when I had to go to the bathroom at the climax of the movie, for the first time in like 30 years, I finally went. I left the theater to go to the bathroom, and I've never done that before.
You know what the movie I did that
I'm
in?
only 19. That's how long.
Interstellar.
What? I left to go to the bathroom and I came back and I sat down next to her and I was like, "Hey, what happened?" And she's like, "Oh, the robot died." And I went, "Oh, okay, I don't care." Remember
Here's the thing.
Joss Whedon, the robot,
Gareth
was
Edwards
there just wisecracking?
Basically makes movies that elicit absolutely no emotion out of you whatsoever. Like, you can't really hate a Gareth Edwards movie, because hating a movie implies that it left an impression on you in the first place.
Yeah? I guess I don't really hate Rogue One. I was just kind of disillusioned.
It's just really, really boring that you don't care about.
It exists. Hey, hold on. I have some more questions about Alderaan. Do you think Alderaan had any, like, super important exports that the rest of the galactic economy relied on?
Look,
like, you know, the prequels made it all super political and started talking about how there's a fucking trade federation.
So here's the way I think about Alderaan. Alderaan is like space Switzerland. It's full of really rich people who make watches.
Okay.
And don't like to
fight. we don't need those watches if we blow them up.
Switzerland makes watches.
We can find someone else to produce watches.
They have like a little bit of tech stuff. So they're,
I guess.
Here, I'm going to go to Wikipedia and find economy of Switzerland for comparison. I know that they make watches. It's one of the world's most stable economies. Economic sectors. They make watches. They make a lot of watches. Yeah. They make pharmaceuticals. Let's see. They have banks.
Yeah.
There's tourism. People ski there. Let's see. Exports. Gold. Pharmaceuticals. Washes. Financial services, medical equipment. So basically they make stuff that everybody else makes. So basically nobody really misses Space Switzerland. You can go and ski on, like, Space... Who knows? Space New Zealand.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. I guess no one will really miss it except Padme. Or, I mean, not Padme. Fucking the other one. Princess Padme. Leia. Padme-la. Pad Leia.
That's the funny thing, is that you're confusing the interesting one for the boring one.
Yeah.
Because, like, Leia may not be a fascinating character, but she at least has a personality. You can't say that about Padme. Or Jyn Erso, for that matter.
Padme's personality is that she's, Padme's personality is the same personality as Jyn Erso. Is that
so here's my controversial statement. Padme is to Leia what Jyn Erso is to Rey.
Oh boy, everyone's gonna hate you for saying anything positive about Rey. Because she's a Mary Sue,
well, at least
David.
she has a personality.
I wish Max Landis hadn't said that word, so every fucking idiot on the internet is accusing everything of being a Mary Sue. Everyone, okay, for people calling Luke a Mary Sue, you're an idiot, and that's that's not a worthwhile argument, because it's halfway admitting that Rey is also one, but saying, well, it's okay if this character has this flaw, but this one does too. It's kind of like how when you defend your political candidate that you like by saying, well, even though this one did something shitty, this one also did something shitty, so it's okay, instead of just condemning something shitty. But even then, despite admitting that there's problems with the way Rey is written, Luke does not share these problems. He got his ass kicked and his hand cut off the first time he ever tried a lightsaber fight. He was made fun of constantly. People mocked his height. He was considered a lazy punk kid. Things didn't go his way, you know, like he actually had struggles. I really don't see the comparison.
I draw the line.
Oh, he blew up the Death Star. Oh, you mean to tell me that the main character has agency in his own plot and does things?
So here's where I draw the line.
This writing is so lazy.
I draw the line in that I say, Rey's writing isn't the best, but Daisy Ridley's good. Come on.
Oh, she's got a lot of great on-screen presence. I think she has charisma as an actress. I think she performs the script she's given well. It's just that the script she's given is not where it should be.
So that's that's our controversial opinion on Rey. So
yeah.
So
I think Rey has problems, but I don't think she's the worst thing in cinematic history. I think that's also a dramatic overstatement. Is that Rey is like if anyone likes Rey, they must be some kind of psychopath.
They're the SJWs if they like him.
They're SJW. Now I think SJWs are annoying, but I don't think people liking Rey makes you an SJW. Use that
as an excuse.
People use that as a scapegoat now and just kind of call anyone they disagree with an SJW. It's kind of the same as the way SJWs call people Hitler, you know? Maybe just stop labeling people for disagreeing with you and just take everyone on an individual base. Because everyone is an individual. No, that's crazy.
You're speaking crazy talk right now.
So, I have a liberal friend who loves guns. I have a conservative friend who hates them. Not everything is black and white. Not everyone is just fits into perfect categories where you can go, this person is this stereotype. That's not how it works.
Well, I know what stereotype you are.
The Chad awesome football player dude bro who gets laid 8 times a day. Ginger. Oh.
I mean, am I wrong? I asked you a question. Am I wrong?
You know, after a while, the soulless ginger jokes, when you've been dealing with them since 5th grade, and sometimes they actually are not meant as sarcasm, they're actually supposed to be really, really genuinely hurtful. Someone's really calling you out for it. After a while, even when you know someone's joking and they still say it, it still kind of cuts, you know?
Well, you deserve it for being a ginger.
It's kind of like... you know, it's weird because you can... I think let's bring some ginger awareness for you.
Ginger lives matter.
People with red hair and freckles are the only group that you're allowed to make fun of for their appearance
you're white.
and not be considered... Yeah, because we're white. So we aren't a race. We're not some kind of protected group. You can say any kind of horrible shit you want about a person with red hair and freckles. You can make this, like, dumb rumor. You can say all these soulless jokes. You can do all that and not get in trouble for it because it's not a form of racism. You can be totally prejudiced and get away with it. So if you want to be a racist but don't want to be excommunicated from your community, just shit on the person with red hair and freckles all the time. That's how you can get away with a type of racism that doesn't count. You know,
this is perfect.
It's the perfect loophole.
This makes perfect sense to me.
You could, yeah, right? You know, I like how you're so excited. This makes perfect sense. I like this. I'm buying it. Like it was like I pitched a product to you, and you're like, yeah, I really do need that kind of vacuum cleaner in my life.
I really like the ability to discriminate against other people without having to answer for that.
There you go. I gave you an out.
So I think...
And you know what? If you're a Hollywood producer, here's a magic trick for you. If you want to help add some diversity to your cast, just look at the red-haired person and look at them as kind of like a placeholder. You can really recast them as anything. You can have them be Hispanic, Asian, black.
But how
doesn't matter. Just anything but
Amy
an
Pond
actual redheaded
have a career
person.
now?
She won't. She'll be recast
Okay,
by Oprah.
Perfect. That makes total sense. Just have
Yeah.
Oprah as
make
Nebula
a whole video.
in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Here's my salt for today. I could make a whole video on the amount of red-headed characters with freckles who have been recast with black people or Asians or just brunette white people. Like, anything except a red-headed person is acceptable. We're at the point where Mary Jane Watson, a character who is, like, specifically known for her red hair and freckles, is not that anymore. So, like, Jimmy Olsen in Supergirl, you know, Charlie Cox plays a brown-haired Daredevil, Wally West, Jean Grey we got. Jean Grey is like the Martin Luther King of redheaded
Well, Jean
people.
Grey, you can't recast her. Because, you can't recast her as somebody who isn't redheaded.
Why?
Because it's too iconic at this point. Nobody really cares about Mary Jane, or Jimmy Olsen, or Wally West.
A lot of people do. There's a lot of people who care about
More people care about Jean Grey.
I will argue there are more people who care about Mary Jane than Jean Grey.
When you have a character who's famous for basically being on fire, you can't have them not being ginger.
Stupid. That's stupid. You're fired. Hey, remember when we were going to end the podcast and then we were like, well, hold on, let's go on a little bit of a tangent. And that was an hour ago?
I was about to wrap it up, but then you started ranting about gingers, and I thought, okay, I'll just let you have your salt for the day.
This is my daily salt.
Yeah, everybody needs...
Right.
Remember, kids. Everybody needs their daily sodium intake, and you've had yours from us today, so you're welcome. Thank you for having Cautiously Realistic and Godzilla Mendoza as part of your nutritious breakfast.
Someone's just drinking up all this salt. Love you guys. See you next week. Hopefully we can get these out on time.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.